Okay, now we're recording, so now we have to be good. So enough of that nonsense. Should I give people a little more time, or do you think we can get started? Get started? Okay. Then we are just gonna get started. Lace, I thought we could, I didn't tell you this ahead of time, but I thought we could just start a little bit sharing kind of your journey, what the business has meant to you, like just a couple minutes.
Definitely. So I'm Lacey. I'm an Emerald. Liz is actually my upline, but she's also a friend from college. And so that's how I got started. Was I saw Liz's post and I actually reached out to her because I have a son that has cerebral palsy, and he's always struggled with constipation. So I started the products for him to help with his constipation because we were on Miralax and a lot of it, and I didn't like it. And so we kind of fell in love with the products because it helped him so much within just like 2 months. And we started to notice other things with him too. Like he used to have acid reflux really bad and he quit vomiting from that over time, so not over the first 2 months, but over time he started to gain weight, which was a really tough thing for him to do because of his diagnosis and the vomiting, of course. We aren't on meds anymore for the acid reflux for him. And then I shared it with him and I loved how I felt. And I honestly shared because I thought, well, Liz helped me out a lot. I'll just be nice and help post for her. And it just kind of like, I feel like we hear this a lot from people, but it was just kind of like a business that fell into my lap that I didn't expect or even want at the time. But it was a blessing in disguise because it was the fall before COVID started. And it was also right before my son ended up having a few hospitalizations. So I didn't realize I was going to be out of work. So I'm a physical therapist by day. And I didn't realize that I was not going to be working in the clinic for 5 months. And so Plexus completely replaced my income for missing because of his hospitalizations, COVID. There just wasn't enough patients for all of us in the clinic that I worked in. So, and my kids, they didn't have school or daycare. So I stayed home. My coworker didn't have kids at the time. So it was easy for her to just keep working. So, and it was fine. But I am so grateful that I had the Plexus income to keep us, to keep something coming in, because otherwise we would have had to drastically change how we lived our lives and it just would have been crazy. And I literally built my business. I feel like running my son to appointments and sitting in the hospital with him. So yeah, blessing in disguise, but it's been awesome for sure.
And her story, Lacey's story, is the reason why I will never, ever stop sharing these products, no matter what. I can't look at her family and hear her story and not cry. And so I will share these products forever. I got to see her family go to Disney World in March. And I think I was more excited about her family going than I was about my family going, because it was just the sweetest thing ever. Okay, so I'm going to try to be organized. We made like a PowerPoint. I haven't made one of those since college. I'm going to share my screen if I can figure it out. And we're just going to show you guys kind of the system that we use. So Lacey went Emerald in 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, 9 months. I went Emerald in 10 months, 11. No, yeah, 10, 11 months. Anyway, we flew to Emerald. We followed a system, and if you've heard me talk, like, you know that I don't follow a system, but we followed a loose system. And so we're going to just tell you what we did, what worked for us. And this is what we do now. This is how we run our businesses. This is like, we're like, why change it if we know it works? And it works for us. And so this is what we do. It's very simple. You're going to like see it and you're going to be like, oh, okay. But like, literally, this is what we do over and over and over again.
And we know it works because we kind of got away from this system for a while and we were just kind of plateaued, like didn't have a lot of action on our team, weren't totally re-ranking, or I wasn't always re-ranking. So it works. It really works.
Yep. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Casey, give me a thumbs up. I can see you. Okay. This is the first PowerPoint I've made since college. I'm really proud of it. So this is our system. This is all we do. This is what we know works, and this is what we will always go back to. And we might get caught. And as you're like growing your business, it's easy to get caught in this, like, you've probably heard it, like this management mode thing, where you start worrying about like your team and all of that more than you worry about like doing your personal IPA. And so when we tell you this system, like this comes, and you'll see that it works with your personal IPA, but this comes after your personal IPA. Like you have to do that every day first. Like that's your priority every single day, whether you're like a gold or a, I don't know, maybe not when you're a diamond. I don't know what you do when you're a diamond, but when you're an emerald, like my personal IPA has to come first. If I'm not growing, if something's going on in my business, it's because I'm not focusing on my personal messages. Okay. And Lacey is the queen of follow-up. That's the other thing that I have like written big. Our system basically is following up. Our system is following up and following up and following up. So this is our system. This is the big thing. Three-way conversations with our sponsor. So when someone joins, we put them in a three-way conversation. Like if Lacey were to add someone, and now of course things have changed. Like I'm not a rule follower, so this is not a black and white system, but if Lacey adds someone and it's someone that like she knows is going to be interested in the business, she'll add me in a conversation with them still to this day. Like Lacey knows what she's doing. She doesn't need me in that conversation, but the third party validation helps. Second, it's easier for me to ask, like, we'll get to this, like for a shout out post. It's easier for me to ask Lacey's boss. Lacey doesn't have a boss, but if she did, to do a shout out post for her than it is for Lacey to ask someone maybe. And so those three-way conversations, I think really help. Lacey, anything about
And
that?
not only that, I think just like, it's easy to forget something, you know, and like there's times when Liz will jump in there and she'll say something and I'm like, oh gosh, I never addressed that, or I didn't ask that or whatever. And it's just, yeah, like Liz said, validation, and we're just there to help each other, honestly.
Yep. I just had one tonight. Ashley Westberg, I don't know if she's on here. I can't see everyone, but she asked someone, they did a shout out post for her. She went through the system. They did a shout out post. She asked them to host an event and they were like, maybe like after Easter. And then I hopped in and I was like, oh yeah, an event is an awesome way to do it. Could we do it? And I give her 2 dates to do it. And it's just like being asked the same thing again and again, following up, not letting it be a one and done thing. So three-way conversations, we do those all the time. Even if you think like you're the best troubleshooter, you don't need help, like just do it. And a lot of times people on my team will message me on the side and be like, go respond in that message because I forget. So that's totally fine to just like remind people to respond. Next, excellent and consistent customer care. I don't care what system you follow. Like there's Emily Gibson, Brittany Howard. I don't know. Everyone's got their own system, but like follow a system and stick to it. Lace, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, consistency is the biggest thing, I think, with following up or doing your customer care. But I live by my planner, no matter if it's my personal life or for Plexus stuff. And so when I sign someone, so say I sign someone today, I write their name in my planner every Thursday for the next, usually like 8 weeks. And I might get off on what day I message them, but at least if they're written down at some point, I can check them off. I try to front load my week. Like, so a lot of my customer care stuff, I try to get done on like Monday, Tuesday, because it seems like things snowball by the end of the week. But that's just what works for me. Is my planner is my system. And I don't use a fancy planner. I bought it off of Amazon. It actually ends, I think, in June. So I have to get a new one now. But so I write people's names down the day I sign them every week for a couple months. I have a little space in the top of my planner. I should have brought my planner in here to show you guys, but it's just a little open space, and I'll write like kind of my biz builders. So I know every week I need to check in with these people or just kind of make sure I'm interacting with them in some way so they know I'm there to support them. And then the other side of my planner is a very messy space full of my potentials that I need to remember to follow up with. So there's nothing like fancy about it. I have like lists all over my planner, names all over my planner, but I kind of know what they mean. So I write my posts or at least if I have an idea of a post, I try to write that each day also. And I try to do a lot of my planning over the weekend for the week. So yeah, it's a loose system, but that's just what works for me. If you're very techie and you go by spreadsheets, that's fine. Just pick something and stick with it for a while. And if it's not working, try something different.
Yep. That's my number one tip. Just pick something and do it and stick with it. And if it doesn't work, like, you're not married to whatever system you're doing. You don't have to follow it like rule. Just have fun and do what works for you, but do it consistently and do it in your 3-way if you need help. Like if someone's like, Hannah's a nurse, Hannah Richardson is my upline. And so if someone comes to me with some like really involved thing, I'm like, oh, I'm going to pull my friend Hannah in, and then we talk and it works. I just have a list in my phone, in the notes of my phone, and I have a list of every single one of my level 1 ambassadors or VIPs now. And I just go up from the bottom, and I have 1 day a week, Friday mornings is when I do my customer care. And I just go up, and then I know, like, if I do the people in my head, it works. So just find a system that works for you. Okay. Next, put your person in a 3-way conversation, follow customer care, invite people to do a shout out post. And we're going to explain a little more about that. We have some examples of that, but this isn't something that you do like one time, like, oh yeah, I asked them if they wanted that referral bonus and they didn't. Like, ask them all the time. If they share a win with you, if they tell you like, oh my goodness, like I had a big poop this morning or something, like I slept great last night, I had more energy, whatever they tell you, like something like, oh my goodness, you should totally share that with people. I bet there's someone in your life who's struggling too. Ask them to do it. If they tell you no once, it doesn't mean no forever. It means no, not right now, but they might want to do it later. So keep asking, invite them to do a shout out post. We'll have examples of how to do that.
And that kind of comes from, if you're doing really good, consistent customer care, you're going to hear those wins. And that's just a really easy segue into, oh my gosh, your headaches are gone this week. Like, you need to tell someone about that, because there's tons of people that deal with that. So it's very easy to get those like wins out of people, but you have to ask for them. You can't just check in and be like, hey, how's it going? Because most people are going to be like, good, or I'm doing okay. You do have to ask. I try to be kind of specific with people. If they're very vague, I'm like, oh, well, what's good this week? I'm like energy, sleep, what I might say some of their goals that they told me, just to get it out of them, because some people just are very vague, or they don't even realize what you're asking them. They're like, oh yeah, I'm having a good week, like life wise, which is great, but I want to hear how Plexus is helping you.
Yeah. And something that we use there too is that 3-way, because like I can say to Lacey's person, like, hey, would you do a shout out post for Lacey? That's how Lacey Wilcox got started. Like asked her to do a shout out post, and she was like, sure, like I'll be nice to Liz. She was at the time they were preferred customers. She wasn't even an ambassador. She was a preferred customer when she did the shout out post, just to be nice. So I think that's a really like low pressure way to ask people, like, because they think they're just helping you out, and they are. The last part of our system is inviting them to host an event, and we'll talk more about tips for that. Okay, how do I go to the next one? Okay, so these are just shout out post invites, examples of like what you can say.
I think one thing with like just asking people is just, it doesn't, like, you can use these exact examples. It doesn't matter what you say, but it's all about like your posture. You just have to be confident and be bold when you're asking people, like, and be excited for them. Like that second message, that's just like, I'm so pumped for you. Like, I'm so glad your headaches are gone. Like, what do you think about, doing a post on Facebook? I always offer to write it up for them, or to help them write it, or give them a few sentences and tell them, we need to tweak this because I want it to sound like you. We always want it to sound like them talking. So if I use a bunch of emojis and they shouldn't be posting a bunch of emojis, but we want it to sound like them.
Yeah. And again, like, just be you. Like, if this isn't how you talk, don't use these. Like, but this is just an example that it can look lots of different ways. And remember, if they say no once, like, you can ask them again in a month. You can ask them a different way. You could tell them about the referral bonuses. Like, so many different ways to do this. Saying no once does not mean no. Like, keep asking. Just some more examples that you guys can read through how you might ask for a shout out post. Oh, there's a typo.
Oh, I missed
Um,
that.
Remember that we have $405. So that one talks about the referral bonuses. Tips for that shout out post. I always offer to write the post for them. And I always do. Like, we send them a post. Like, would you do a shout out post for me? You could post something like this. And then here's an example there, but it can look however you want. Basically I just ordered these supplements. I'm super excited for them. Lacey shared how they've helped with XYZ. Who wants to start with me, or who wants to give it a try with me, or whatever that looks like for them. Again, you want it to sound like them. And then I give them tips for posting, because I don't want them to go like Google some Plexus graphic and post a Plexus graphic with this post. Like, I tell them, like, post a picture of you. People love to see your smiling face. And I know that's hard for people, but like, it's true. People want to see your face. Give them the post so they don't have to think about it. They don't have to, like, it's a scary thing to do, to post on social media. So make it as simple as you can for them. Reassure them that, like, when people respond, you're just going to say, I'll message you, and then I will help you message. Again, all of this, like, bring your energy and excitement. Confidence, like, is contagious. So if you come with excitement, if you tell them how excited you are for them to do this, like, it's going to be super simple. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like, you know what you're doing. Come from that posture that you know how to do this. This is no big deal. Like, we've done this before. We know what we're doing.
And you will hold their hand. Like, I think most people are just scared of, then what do I do? So just, I mean, we just need to tell people up front, like, okay, we're going to post. And then, like Liz said, tell them how to respond, or tell them, put me in a 3-way chat and I will help you respond.
Yep. And if you have someone that does a shout out post, like, be prepared. Like, you might be in a lot of messages the next day, because I tell them to put me in a 3-way with whoever responds. And then that's going to take a little bit of your time, but it's 1,000% worth it, because you're showing them what to do. And then this is super duplicatable, because then they can do it with their people. So after someone does a post, and it's like a total, you don't know what it's going to be. Like, someone could do a post and sign 3 people that same day. Someone could do a post and not get any likes or comments. And that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that they're going to be your whatever unicorn emerald, or that they're never going to go anywhere. Like, you just never know. But an event is the next step that we take. So whether they made a post and no one responded, whether they made a post and signed 3 people, we invite them to host an event next. This is just an example of how we would do that. We have the, like, messenger chat events, or the, like, traditional event where we do like 3 lives with some posts. We've done a little bit of both. I don't know. Both seem to work.
Yeah, I don't know that one for us is better than the other. I mix it up, or I ask the person, like, what they're more comfortable with. I don't know that one's better than the other. I've had success in both, and I've had both that have been flops where nobody like responds. So I think it just depends on the people, and yeah, I don't know.
But remember that in this too, your confidence is contagious. So even if they have an event and no one interacts and no one does anything, like, your response to them matters. Like, no big deal. Like, let's follow up. And that's the biggest, here's another invite to an event. If you want to take a picture of that one. I think that's the most important thing, whether you do a messenger event, whether you do the traditional Facebook event, is following up after the event. And just like, that's part of the system. Like, after we host an event, we follow up. And here are some, this is more examples of how to invite to host an event. Emily's taking pictures.
I think also not only following up, but even before the event, like, inviting people and not just going down, making sure they know, not just to go down their Facebook list and like add a bunch of people, like sending messages to those people asking, like, hey, I'm going to have an event on Tuesday night. It's, about the supplements I messaged you about a while ago. Do you want to check it out? You know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Voice messages are great. Because I just think then you can show your confidence and boldness a little bit more too, even if you don't feel confident. Pretend, I don't know. But I do think inviting is really important too, because most people don't like to just be added to a random. I actually was in a messenger event earlier this week, and this one girl responded in the messenger chat. How did she word it? I didn't want to join a group or something like that. And I was like, oh, that girl didn't ask her. She just invited her or just added her. So yeah, it's very important, I think, to ask people, like you're asking for their permission. And then like Liz said, follow-up is for sure a lot of time what's going to make or break those events. Like a lot of my ones, and I think that's why some of them are flops, is because they don't follow up or they don't add us in chats. And so we just can't help them. We can't teach them that way.
Yep. And these are just some tips. Again, like a lot of hand holding, like those invites that Lacey said, we send examples. Like, here's an example you could send to the people who liked your post or commented. Here's an example. Who can you think of that you could invite? Here's an example of a message you could send to invite them. After the event, we send follow-up examples. Like, now I want you to follow up with everyone who is in your event. We usually do some sort of like, I don't know, we've done like a sample pack giveaway, or we've done like a special deal.
Or
Yeah, some sort of giveaway, and maybe some sort of like, I don't know, 10% off welcome packs with code SAM 2020 if you join tonight. Like something special for the event, just bringing excitement, energy. During the event, it's really important to be interacting, like comment on stuff, answer questions, ask questions. The more like social you can be, the better.
Abby had a really good question of people. Have you had people who won't let you help them, but they make a post? Yes, all the time. Like those are the people that really stick out to me, that are like, this person's not super coachable, but I'll help them for a while until they're wasting my time. And I think they kind of figure out too, like it's not working.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think like you have to be coachable here. I mean, you can do it your own way, but this way works. I don't know if that's mean, but
I try like some of those people I'll send like maybe the silver series, like the Brooke Hemingway and Emily Gibson, like I'll send them a video so that they kind of know like why I'm telling them to add me to chats, or, you know, getting them to make a post. Yeah, I try to send them something that hopefully will like have a light bulb go off in their head. Like, oh, okay, maybe I should try this.
Yeah. And this is just John Maxwell. We both love him, listen to him, read him a lot. 7 steps to success, because no matter like what system you follow, if you follow it perfectly and you do everything just right, if you don't have belief in the products, if you don't have belief that this is the best opportunity in the world, and it 1000% is, and you aren't training yourself, growing yourself, raising your leadership lid as your, like, you guys are all gold, like that's a big deal. Then you're not, like, no system is going to work if you don't have the belief and the like drive behind it. So I love John Maxwell. Read him, enjoy it. Cool, we did it. I just had a couple like quotes to share, and then we can maybe ask questions for a few minutes. But I'm in this, I don't even know what it's called, some group with Genevieve Scory, where she, like, we're running to Diamond, and she has a call for us every week. And one of my favorite things that she said a couple weeks ago was, it is a privilege to hold people's dreams in your heart. And I think just like remembering that as you're helping people share, as you're going through all this, like what a privilege it is to get to do this, like that we get to be a part of helping people like Lacey, you know, or whatever it is, like that's a privilege that we get. And just having that posture as you're leading people always, that like, yeah, we don't deserve this. This is a privilege that we get to do, and it's pretty special. And then the other thing that always keeps me going is it Rock Your Network Marketing Business, where she talks about the gold in your backyard. And I think that's important as you're asking people to share, like, and I do it all the time. Like, I have a preconceived like judgment in my head about like who's going to go to the top and who's not going to go, like who's going to be my runner and who's not going to be my runner. Like, you don't know who your gold is. Like, you have no idea who's going to be gold. But if there were 3 or however many 3 bricks of gold in your backyard, you wouldn't give up. You would keep digging and digging and digging for that gold. When you got hot, when you were tired, when you dig all day and you dug all day and you didn't find anything, like, you would keep digging. And so just keep digging for your gold, because it's out there and you might not find it today. You might not find it this month, but you're going to find it. And I think this is a good system for moving through the steps to find that gold without like judging whether people are going to be your gold or not, because you have no idea. Like Lacey and I have said, like, there's something to like the influence that, I don't know, we haven't quite figured out. Maybe someone's figured it out. But someone can host an event and add 10 people, and someone can host an event and add no one. And your posture and response to that matters, because 6 months from now, they might host another event and add 10 people, and you never know. So ask everyone, don't judge. Lace?
Betsy asked a question. She said, we have people invite lots of people to events, but lose them when it comes to 3-ways. Any tips for helping them get their people into 3-ways? Okay, so I noticed this with I have a younger, she's single, younger girl. And I feel like a lot of her people don't like 3-ways, which is fine. So I just tell people to screenshot their conversation if they want help answering questions. And that seems to help a lot too. You know, there's people that will just, like they just said, I'm not comfortable, whatever, being in a chat. So she just screenshots me their conversations all the time. And that's fine. I was quickly reading what Kara wrote here too.
And then I think too, just like being specific on training.
I was going to say, Adri and I run into that all the time. Like, Adri and I don't really do 3-way messages because most of her people, like, she'll screenshot stuff. And so maybe it is a little bit younger generation, but like that has worked really well for us because we tried 3-ways and it did not work. So that is definitely something that can work instead. So don't hold the 3-way so tightly that you like don't do something else.
Right. And I like what Kara said about like Emily will just go message that. Like I taproot a lot, because those people, like if you have a bunch of people in an event and then nothing happens and they just kind of get lost. Like I've done that too, where I've messaged some of those people and just said, hey, have you checked out this event yet? And I'll explain how I know the person and just say, something like, I'm just, going to help you out. Or like Kara said, have you heard of Plexus before or whatever? So I have a lot of like business builders that aren't level 1s too. And I think it's just because I've continued the relationship build with them and commented on posts, and then, just asked them to do shout out posts if they had a win.
Lacey is the master of taprooting.
I was going to say too, is that a lot of people think 3-ways have to immediately be with their sponsor, but I actually like to think of it as like, if you're in a Target and you're with a friend and it's more awkward if you don't introduce the two and you know that the two are there. And the other thing is that, like, I have someone in my downline who just added someone with endometriosis. She has literally no friends that has endometriosis. And so I said, hey, I've got a couple of friends that I know that have endo that have really seen relief. Do you mind if would you like me to connect you to one of them? She goes, yeah, that'd be great. I don't have anybody that I can relate to. And I was like, perfect. So I connected with somebody that's a completely different sideline that's willing to hop into a 3-way. And I feel like when you have somebody that has the same struggles as them, they really open up and are totally cool with connecting to somebody because they have someone that's in their corner that relates exactly to what they're saying.
Definitely. I like that a lot.
Yep. Love that, Kylie. Just like you would do with anyone. Like if you found out your friend was having triplets and you knew someone who had triplets, like you would connect them. So yeah, love that. Just natural and real. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay.
I'll ask a question. I always have questions and comments. Y'all know that. Okay. So with your follow-up, with that being like the main thing you guys are consistently doing, the frequency of your follow-up, say somebody has not responded, you send a message a couple days later, they still don't respond. When do you send the next one? And then the next one, and then the next one, still with zero response?
I think for me, it depends on the person, like how well I know them and what I know them from. Or if I see, I mean, I'll message people if I see something they post on Facebook. So it might not have anything to do with Plexus, but I'm just like, hey, I just saw this. Congratulations, or something like that. I don't know that I do not have a system like Christina Williams does with her 9 messages every so many days or whatever, but I just don't take anyone off my list.
Yeah, and I don't have, surprise, I don't have a like hard and fast system, but you can bet if they post a story, I'm responding to their story. If they make a post, I'm commenting on their post. Like, I'm very like intentional about that. And so then usually especially if you respond to a story, because then it goes into their messenger chat, like, then it's like, oh yeah, you saw me. Like, no, you saw that message.
Well, and I'll say too, like for somebody who is super skeptical, if they see that you are genuinely caring about them, even if it's years and years of you genuinely caring about them, with them not responding and saying yes to Plexus, I think that builds that trust. So when it is their time, you've built that relationship with them that they're going to want to come to you because you've cared about them. You've cared about their life.
Yep, 100% relationship first. Like if they're not responding, then might not be their time right now. And that stinks, but they'll come around. Okay. When someone's done a first post, had an event, still hasn't generated much interest, but really wants the business, then what? Lacey, do you want me? I think I would have them like make a list of people and just start how I would anyone else. Like, let's do another post and make their Frank's list or their leads you didn't know and just lead them like I would have anyone else. We do a lot of like Zoom calls when people are first joining for the business and just kind of drip belief on them. And we just like talk about the back office. We talk about what we do when we work, like, yeah, share how to post in different ways, get on a power hour with them. Yeah. Keep going. Kayla, how do you follow up with someone who has reached out and said they want to do this and then they ignore you? Like they want to do the business with you and then they don't actually want to do the business. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If they don't want it, like I lead them through, like, let's do a shout out post. Let's host an event. Let's like, this is how we work. We get on a Zoom. And if you don't want to do it, like that's on you.
Yeah, if they're not
Yes.
taking the action steps, there's only so much you can do before you're kind of wasting your time, probably.
Yeah.
Or send them a video again and say, okay, watch this video and I'll check in with you on Wednesday night. And I don't know if they haven't watched it, it's probably not a priority.
Jordan says, ask them, hey, what's going on? What you thinking? Shoot me straight. I like that. Or find the belief around why they're not taking action. Oh, Kayla, we misunderstood. Sorry, they want to take the products. Oh, they say they want to take the products, but then they never respond. Kind of the same thing, because I think like I've seen it over and over again, like they have to be ready. Like it takes a commitment. Like they have to take the supplements every day. They have to be ready to drink their water. Like they have to be ready. And if they're not ready, keep following up.
Yeah, I think timing is everything. I mean, I've had people that start and then they're just super inconsistent and eventually they kind of fall off. And then I just had a girl that came back. She's like, okay, now I want to get serious about this. So it has to be in their timing, I think, a little bit too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and build their belief for sure.
Yeah, and just keep doing what you're doing. But then, yeah, grow the relationship, like just connect with them. Okay, Liz and Lacey all did incredible. Oh, thanks, Kara. I like reading that comment. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay.
You guys, wasn't this so good? Like
I love-
it was simple. They gave tasks, they gave examples of what they have done and continue to do to grow their business. And it's not this crazy thing. It's simple, but the main underlying thing is be consistent. Super proud of you, Liz and Lacey. This was really well organized, really great content. You helped so many of us with so many things. I know many people took pictures of what you guys posted. So thank you so much for sharing with us. It was so, so good. And welcome to all the new golds. Super proud of you. Super proud of those of you who re-ranked. We do these calls the first Thursday of every month. So get your people here. They're really, really rich, really sweet.
Teacher Abby told me I did a good job on my PowerPoint. Thank you. Okay. Awesome job, guys. We'll see you later.